Okay, George.
Can I say something first?
Definitely.
The reason I came here is not because I need the publicity, but because of you and because of Jim Lawrence. He's a friend of many, many years. I'm very happy that they changed the Jim Lawrence Commodore Award. He was the best guy you could have found in shipping, always a good word to say. And I just learned that he had passed away by reading the article. And I didn't know the family. So I sent you my condolences. So, in his honor, can we take a 20-minute silence? Can we stand up?
Absolutely.
Would you mind? Thank you very much.
Thanks, George.
I think shipping is a very personal business and it's a relationship business, which is still probably among the very few because, especially in the US, everything is transactional, including personal relationships.
Yeah.
So I think we should try and keep it that way to the degree that we can. It's not easy because it's a fast community. Everyone wants to go into the next deal, make the money. But long term, you need the relationships. Anyway, sorry.
No. I really appreciate your words and taking the time to do that. I first met you, I think it was 25 years ago. You had just done the Alpha bond here in New York. It was the first sort of tramp shipping bond ever done. And then we got to know
those were issued in February 98.
98. And we got to know each other better during the restructuring of that bond. And we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. But Jim used to tell the story about you coming to Marine Money when you were a young guy out of MIT.
I'm still young.
You're still young, younger. I guess that would have been like maybe a lot of years ago. That you came to Marine Money to raise $250,000 to buy your first ship. Can you verify that story or comment on it?
I was always trying to raise money because I didn't have much. All I had was a little bit less than $400,000 having sold my apartment back in '86 in New York. So it was always, but I was highly unsuccessful in raising any money other than the bond, which is not equity, which is debt.
Okay, this is a lesson. This is inspiration for anyone who's struggling to raise capital.
I'll tell you something which is very, very interesting. Around '93, I had a meeting with Henry Kravis. So he walks in the room for 5 minutes and says, "Hey, George, I understand you want to raise money in shipping." I said, "Yes." "How much?" I said, $50 million. He says, "I can only give you 500." I said, "I don't know what to do with 500." And that was the end of the story.
Be careful what you wish for. But since that time, I mean, you've gone on to have incredible success. You've bought and sold probably thousands of ships. You're one of the largest private ship owners in the world. You're on the billionaire lists everywhere. I think most interesting for me is you're probably the largest self-made ship owner in Greece or anywhere that I'm aware of.
It takes time. There are some, but I've done mine for 39 years, so it's not easy when you start. It's a capital-intensive business, so when you start with no capital,
yeah, amazing.
It's not an easy feat to do.
So I want to sort of, we're going to get into the spicier stuff in a minute.
Sure.
And you certainly have had your fair share of spicy drama and controversy, and we're not going to stay away from that. But I do want to just kind of wind the clock back and look at your upbringing. You were born March 10th in 1953. Makes you a Pisces. I looked up Pisces. It says water sign. Yes. Known for love of artistic expression.
Oh, that's
true.
Yeah.
Dislike of conflict.
I dislike conflict, but when there is controversy, then I'll fight.
Okay.
I'll try to stay above water. I don't encourage it, but I'll put a fair fight.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of that in a minute. So your father was not a ship owner from the island of Chios. Your father owned a paper supply company in Athens.
Right.
Just briefly tell us, what were you like as a kid? Were you into chess or soccer or motorcycles? Or just tell us a little bit about yourself as a young guy.
Well, I had a lot of interests, different interests. I was good at chess and I was racing motorcycles. and I was good at math, and I did play the piano, and at the same time I was on the volleyball team, and I had French lessons and German lessons, and then I decided that the only way to have a good living is to be in shipping, hoping that I would work for a shipping company, which I did for 10 years, but I never planned to be where I am today. Even when I started, I didn't know. I just want to have a comfortable life.
So when you were a kid in high school, Athens College,
Right.
Onassis and Niarchos and the sort of golden Greek phenomenon was, I think, still going then, right?
Oh, yes, they were, yeah, because Onassis died in 75 or 76.
Did that influence you at all? Did you were they in the newspapers?
Not really.
Or?
No, because first of all, we didn't have. I mean, we only had newspapers, no TV, no nothing. When I was growing up, it was 2 hours of military TV because we had the dictatorship. So it was only your immediate neighborhood that you would get information from. So not really. Onassis says, a bigger than life figure, and that's it. I wasn't aspiring to be like him.
Okay. So you must have been a good student because you were accepted at one of the world's most prestigious universities.
I was.
MIT. You must have been busy. You've always been busy. Ever since I've known you, you're a busy guy.
I'm busy, but I'm not. I'm multidimensional. It's not one thing only.
Yeah,
I do a lot of things all the time.
You have a lot of energy. So you completed a 7-year program in marine engineering, naval architecture, and shipbuilding management. You did that in 3.5 years. Did that leave any time for fun in Boston? Were you able to have a good time in college?
Sure. I was very efficient, so I was able to to get up in the morning, and then by the time it was 8 o'clock, I had finished everything, and then I could somehow party. Not every night, but some nights.
I just read the biography of Alex Van Halen, and he was saying that the most exciting time for he and Eddie Van Halen was before they achieved success. They were working hard. They were driven. They hadn't gotten any of the rewards of success except the work, but they felt it was going to happen. Was there when you look back at your career, was there like a best time or a period that you remember that way?
Yeah, I think best times are the college times because, you only have to perform academically and then you have plenty of time to do everything else. So yes, I look back to that, but can't turn time back.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's good to hear. So you've really been ahead of the pack when it comes to the capital markets. You did the first bond deal, which was Alpha Shipping. You did the first IPO of dry ships in 2005. How were you able to sort of enter those markets as the first mover? Was there someone that helped you with that, or were you following that? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first move into the bond market, I had different banks. I had 25 ships at the time, and I had to deal with probably 10 or 12 banks. And it's not easy, I didn't have a holding company. It was always single-purpose companies financing its shape. So it takes a lot of time. I remember, Bob may not remember it, but I went to Chase when he was there in London. And he says, "Who are you?" I told him. He says, No, I'm never going to give you a loan. What are you here for? I said, "Do you want to go or you want to stay?" He said, "No, you stay." But anyway, this a lot of. I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't qualified by what they had. So then Citibank was following the company, and they told me, if you want to have a one bank or a one loan, then you have to go to the bond markets, and that's why I went to the bond markets.
Okay. And the bond ended
up. It wasn't my idea. It was in a way a necessity to get more money in one chunk rather than dealing with 12 or 20 banks.
That was great advice. That seemed like a transformational deal. It went into restructuring, and that's when you and I spent a fair amount of time together. I don't know if you remember this, but I wrote an article. Do you remember the article?
Yeah, Playing Chicken with George.
Playing Chicken with George. This was the article.
I remember everything about chicken.
Yeah. What I learned in writing that article and in watching George in that restructuring was that you really should never play chicken with George because you seem to win.
I'm gonna go for the crash.
Yeah, he will go for the crash. And actually, there's a story about the bond restructuring where you were in a room of bondholders and they were not happy with the situation, and you pulled a set of keys out of your pocket and said, "Guys, go ahead."
No, but this is
true story.
Honorable, yes, of course, it's honorable. I say, listen, guys, I know I've lost my company, take the kids, and it was mostly at the time David Maslin, who was working for the proprietary fund of Credit Suisse First Boston in New York. We had meetings, and he says the equity is mine. I said, okay, fine, take it, but don't expect me to help you.
Yeah.
And then he changed his mind. Eventually, he proposed 2, 3 things that didn't work. And then he said, okay, fine, give me the equity. I'll give you an option to buy it back.
Yeah. I mean, that was an amazing story because Dave, he became one of your great investor supporters, right? Maybe to this day is still one of your...
No, he didn't. I mean, he was at the time. And then there was a row, but that was because I was trying to save wrong things that were done by my son. And eventually,
Okay.
we got it out.
That was enough. You must see a lot of deals. How much time, we're going to talk about the art in a minute, but how much time do you spend on shipping? I know right now you have about 100 owned ships.
Maybe 160 or
100
more.
Owned?
Owned.
Okay, and then how many more chartered in? And then
At any given time, we have another 80 to 90 ships on charter.
Wow. Okay, so how much time are you spending on shipping versus art versus sailing your...
On my travels, it's 3 to 5% traveling for business on shipping. The rest is family and trips and art.
3 to 5% on shipping?
Yeah.
You are
On
efficient.
my business travels.
Okay.
But I'm always available. And, in the office,
Yeah.
I go 6, 7, 8 hours in the office every
Yeah.
day. And I spend all my time on shipping
Yeah,
in the office.
So when you're in the office. And I read this article about Jeff Bezos, who said that he starts his day every day without looking at technology. He just is thinking and meditating. And how do you start your day?
I don't follow the same recipe. I wake up, I get up, I wash my face.
Grab your phone?
I grab my phone. I look at the international news of every sort for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I start with shipping. And then I exercise. And then I go to the office.
Do you feel like the news informs your investment decision making, or is it?
No, it's just fun. I mean, I want to know what's happening. I'm a very curious person. I want to know everything that happens everywhere.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said in a book that Michael Lewis wrote that if you want to live rather than just exist, you need the drama.
Sure.
You have had a fair share of drama. You've attracted a lot of media attention, been called a pirate, a buccaneer. The Wall Street Journal ran a headline last year that said, "The bad boy of shipping cashes in on Russian oil." And it said specifically that your TMS tankers was one of the largest transporters of Russian oil. Why did they write that article? What was that? What was the reason for that? And what was the point of that?
Well, I found out that this was a commissioned article by the Ukrainians, and they wanted to find dirt on me. And they went at a great length for 3 months to do that. And then they couldn't. And I guess Wallace, who later on we started talking because I wasn't talking to him, he wrote the article, and then they cut it, before it was published, likely for them, because I said, I would sue you if you are libelous.
Yeah.
So they cut a lot of things that were not factual.
Yeah.
And then it came out to be okay, maybe good. Some people interpret it as good. The title always, but controversy sells. So the titles don't necessarily match the text. So
Right.
you gotta read the whole article.
Right. Bad boy. I don't know where they got bad boy. That was in quotation marks, I think. Bad boy. But I don't know who called you the bad boy originally.
I don't know either.
Yeah. So
I'm sure some people have called me before without me knowing, but
yeah. Okay. In recent years, you've become an activist investor. There's been a lot of discussion about activism. Jeff Prebor talked earlier today about capital A activism, which is when large institutional investment managers try to make changes to governance or strategy, dealing with much larger companies. A small A activism he described as kind of strategic players that maybe send letters and try to enhance value for themselves. I probably don't have all of your activities, but I know that you took a stake in Performance Shipping and then you settled with them for $6.5 million. You bought and exited.
No, that was Ocean Pal.
With Ocean Pal. You bought and exited Genco, and you currently have litigation in process with Synergy and
performance.
And perform. Okay, in performance. What is your goal in doing this? Like, why are you're busy? You have hundreds of ships, and we'll talk about the artwork and everything else. Like, what are you hoping to achieve? Is it to change governance, or is it to make money, or what is it exactly?
Well, it's definitely not to change governance because I can't do that. I mean, shipping people are very opinionated, and it's difficult to get your point across, and it's against their interests, so it's impossible. So it was having fun and making money.
Having fun and making money. And have you been successful so far? Would you say?
I've been successful with two, the rest remain to be seen.
Okay, you've had some fun and made some money. Let's make a headline today. Okay.
Sure.
You're up for it? Okay.
I'm
Hopefully
up for
more
it.
than one, but we'll try one. If you were to make an activist move on a shipping company today, who would you pursue?
I think the company that lends itself, and I think people are noticing, is Navios. So, but you need to spend a lot of time, and you need to have substantial money behind it. I don't have the time to do that, so I think somebody else might do it.
Somebody else is generating some good ideas here on the panel.
But you need to spend. You have the money, and you need to spend the time because she's gonna give a tough fight.
Yeah, it's a fight, and you need some lawyers. How would you describe your business philosophy? Was there anyone that influenced you in your career? Any other ship owner? I mean, you've sort of broken the mold, I would say. You've brought a sort of irreverence and spirit of kind of adventure to this that a lot of owners don't have. Is there someone that influenced you along the way in terms of this approach to business?
No, but I was looking up for different companies for different reasons or different entrepreneurs. It was A.P. Moller because of the corporate structure, John Fredrickson because of what he's done. It was also a couple of other individuals that had built companies, but they all had different ways. The saying, there's many ways to skin a cat. You can do it with private markets, you can do it in public markets, you can do it in many sectors. So having known all that, I decided to pick the way. But in the beginning, you just do whatever you can. You just buy one asset after asset after asset. And then eventually it takes time before you get to a point where you can do bigger moves.
Have there been times when you were close to losing everything in your career?
Sure. Yes, of course. The first one was with Alpha Shipping. Then there's more difficult times. Losing everything, no, but you can lose a big chunk like we did with Ocean Rig.
Yeah.
Because, I was a 2% investor in Fredrickson before I ventured into Ocean Rig in his company. Not in Fredrickson, the man, but in the company, in Sidrill. And then I said, okay, shipping is so volatile, I got to get into something that's more industrial. And then I had the shock of my life 15 years or 12 years later because we created a model company.
Yeah, it's a beautiful fleet.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah.
Ours and then Eden Offers Pacific were the best in terms of assets. But obviously, you built up a company with a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And then the Saudis decided they wanted to kill the American fracking in September 2014. So the price of oil went from 100, 120 down to 20, 30, 40. And then I said, oh my God, I hope that it's not going to stay long because we'll have to file at some point because our contracts were expiring around 3 years from then.
Okay.
And then the price of oil stayed low and then their contracts were not renewed. So we would have filed, but then eventually we sold to Transocean.
So you lost some money on that one?
A ton of money of mine and investors.
Yeah.
Maybe around close to 2 billion.
How much?
2 billion.
2 billion.
Yes.
Wow. But you bounced back. What would you do if you lost it all? What would you think? What would you? What other?
What
would you do? I'm sure you'd do something.
I'll go to my islands and bars, have a good
yeah.
time.
You might lose St. Bart's too.
Lie on the beach, have fun, and have good food, exercise.
Yeah. It's a good answer. Lose it all, go to St. Bart's.
Yeah. It's difficult to lose it all now.
Yeah. No, that would be quite a feat.
I think it's practically impossible, but yes.
Yeah. Winston Churchill said, "Never waste a good crisis." I think many people have said that, but he gets the credit. A lot of ship owners have made their best investments in down cycles, but these days, ship owners just have a ton of liquidity and cash. Do you think we will see these bust cycles where you can buy good ships cheap again?
Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon, because first of all, most of the companies are well capitalized, so they will not be. They can withstand a lower market or a bad market, which I don't see for a long time or imminently. So I don't think you'll see that. And there's much more information. I mean, there was less information in the past. People were over ordering. I'll give you an example. In June '07, I was in Norway, and the dry bulk order book was 40%. So I was going around North Shipping, say, you know, the people in shipping are stupid. The order book is 40%, and they keep on ordering ships. And because a lot of the people are Greek, I said they're going to come back from the vacation. Around September, October, they will realize that the order book is going to be much larger, which it was 65%. And maybe they won't even understand that this is going to be a crash. And this would happen. And in anticipation of that, in '08, we had 65 dry bulk carriers. We sold 15. I wanted to sell them all, but I couldn't. High prices, no debt to finance them. And we put all the rest of all of the 50 on 4, 5, and 10-year charters. But you can see when the order book is a big percentage of the fleet, because the lead for the order book is 3 years, and if you have a growth of 3% per year, then you cannot have an order book that is much more than that.
Yeah.
Because you assume that scrapping is happening at the same rate.
Yeah.
Because you have the 25-year life expectancy, 20, to be honest, for most sectors in trading. So when you see this differentiation, you know that it's coming. We're not there yet. And there's a lot of ships that at some point will have to go to scrap, which is a shadow fleet, a lot of tankers.
So are you buying anything now? Do you see value?
No. What we're doing now, we're doing deals with charters attached.
Okay.
And the returns are small because the charters will not allow you to make a big return, maybe 7%. But you have to leverage it high with low cost.
Yeah.
Which is not always easy.
No, and well, you have the capital, so I guess it's a different style of investing than earlier in your career. During your career, the world of technology has changed a lot, right? Internet, AIS, cryptocurrency. Are you using any of those tools? I mean, I know we're in a traditional business, but are you doing
the
anything?
company is using some AI, but this is it's not for investment. It's not for investment decisions. It's just to make things more.
Then how about crypto or tokenization? Are you doing anything on that?
Yeah, what I did is about 5 years ago, I decided that the world is going in digital and not crypto, because digital and crypto are two different things. So I said, okay, I had this idea. I said I had a dream, and then I had a wrong comment from Nick Chakos, the last person that said he died, alleging Martin Luther. I think that was a bad joke, if that was a joke. But anyway, so what I did, and I won't bore you with the story, but we created this platform with a guy in Hong Kong. We own it 50-50. It's called Evident. And what it does, you can put any asset on the platform, you digitalize it, you tokenize it, and then you can, this is ready to be sold to either institutional or private investors. We did one ship back in the day. We didn't advertise it because, it's going to take time to get the interest from the public, whether it's shipping or otherwise, which we did the Fuji, that the return was 15% because it's been sold since then. And now we put another vessel, which is a VLGC called the Corfu, and it's on the platform, but it's available for institutional investors. We're marketing it mostly in Hong Kong because that's where the company staff is and the CEO.
So you're selling that vessel through tokens?
Well, we're selling 40%.
40%. You're keeping the rest?
Yeah. Okay. Because somebody has to manage it. You cannot sell it,
Right.
It needs to be managed. But, I think that's where the world is going.
You think that's
all
the future,
exchanges in a few years will be digital. So the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq will be digital. It may take time,
Yeah.
but that's where we're going.
Well,
And that's not very good for that's not happy days for the investment bankers.
the token. They'll be the token bankers. All right. We just have a few minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about art. I assume you're here in New York. One reason is this is the big Sotheby's auction week. Are you here shopping?
This is the only reason I'm here for art, and because you asked me to come.
Yeah. Well,
here
thank
for the
you.
Conference. Yeah.
Thank you. Jim and I had the opportunity to visit your art gallery a couple of years ago. Beautiful. Can you? And I know you told Tradewinds, I make money with ships in order to buy art.
Well, because there's nothing else to buy.
Yeah, that's true. You can't buy
have
ships.
my car, my home, all that. So
Right. How many boats can you have?
exactly. I only have one anyway.
Yeah. The Barracuda. I like the name.
Barracuda.
We could talk more about that later. What is it about art that you find so interesting? Is it spiritual? Is it beauty? Is it another asset to be bought and sold and leveraged? Or what is it that...
No. Art is not an asset class. It's erroneously promoted as an asset class. Art as an asset would only be at the 0.01, if that, level. So overall, it's not an asset class. If you look at individual art pieces that are being bought and sold around the world, at any value, $1,000 up, 99.9% will be sold for less at any given time after they're bought. So it's a hobby. It's a nice environment. You can make, it's nice to meet the artists. You have to do the rounds because it's so fragmented. So many artists, so many galleries, so many places. So it's fun. I enjoy it. It's enjoyment.
Like a lifestyle
it's
focus.
enjoyment.
Are you an artist at all? Do you create any art?
No, sadly not.
No, not yet. Not
yet. No, I didn't have that talent.
It's not too late. It's not too late, George.
Well, we said, I wanted to study. I wanted to be an actor, but I never even started because actors in Greece were making no money. So I said, that's not for me.
Yeah. That would have been it, actor. If you could have been any type of artist, would it have been
either an actor or a mathematician, and those don't go together. But those were my interests.
Yeah. What is the difference between an art broker and a shipbroker?
Well, there's art. In the past, there were galleries. A gallery is supposed to promote the artists. It's like take them in and they look after them for years and they don't necessarily make a lot of money. Now that they have become dealers.
Okay.
So instead of talking about collectors, they talk about customers. So it's become very commercial.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Okay. We have just a little bit of time. Succession planning. Would you consider another IPO?
Definitely not. I'm too old for that.
Too old for the IPO?
Well, not too old, but there's no benefit. The IPO you do either because you want to grow the business or because you want to have an exit or a partial exit.
Yeah.
Doesn't
apply to you
doesn't
anymore.
Apply to us anymore.
When you think about your career and your life, like how do you measure your success? Like what do you think the
winning more games than you lose? It's like football or soccer or basketball,
Okay. And two more questions. What role do you think luck has played in your life, in your career?
In the life, luck is very important because you have to choose where you study, for example. I was accepted at Stanford that didn't have shipping at MIT. I went to MIT because I wanted to study shipping, but also because it was more well-known at the time in Greece and it was closer to Greece. And luck is always in the beginning, in the first years of your life until you get established, can play a significant role. Thereafter, very little.
Okay.
Unless it's your personal life with health and otherwise.
Right.
Not in business.
For business.
Once you make it to a certain extent, then the element of luck diminishes.
The luck kind of gets you started. Okay. You were the keynote speaker at the 2025 commencement of Webb Institute. During your remarks, you urged graduates to, quote, avoid chasing money and security for their own sake, instead advocating for passion, purpose, and perseverance. You said that along with yourself, make others smile because humor is an essential quality to navigate through the human experience. Pursue your choices with goals, vigor, and love and hard work. Find a cool job, and money will be the reward. So my last question is, if you were the 18-year-old kid in Athens, at Athens College now, just graduating from high school, where would you go? Would you still come to America? What would you do? What would you want to be and make of your life?
I would definitely come to America. I mean, it's 4% of the population enjoying 26% of the world GDP. Where else do you want to be?
That is
And I
precise.
would, other than the fun of shipping that I know, if I wanted to make more money, I would have gone into the corporate world. But it would never be so fun.
Yeah. It seems like you've had a great time. If you want to just give one bit of advice to this group and this audience, what do you think is the secret to making money in shipping?
I think the secret is, like I told my kids, because they, the young generation wants a work-life balance. I said, well, that's not in shipping. You're either in it or out of it. So I think you have to work hard, be totally focused, dedicated, spend the time, and you need to love it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you cannot be successful if you don't wake up thinking about it and think about it before you go to bed, and sometimes dream about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you clearly love it. We love having you here, and
Thank you.
thank you for spending the time, George.
Thank you. I appreciate it.